Hey, my name is Samar. I also go by Sam or First Time Panner. Any of those you want to call me, you can. This will be a different video today. I'm doing my first ever review, or this is not much like an extensive review, but just like a quick overview of the Sephora collection Precious Gemstones palettes. I just got these last night, or I just unboxed them and swatched them last night. And then as I was doing my makeup today, I used the purple one for a few of my mattes and I really liked it, so I thought I'd just do some swatches just because they're 50% off at Sephora right now, and in case no one else with like my skin tone has done a review, because I looked it up on YouTube quickly and I only saw people with fair and light skin tones doing reviews on like this very lightest palette. So since I have all four, I thought I'd just do swatches of all four of these, and then later on, maybe like next week, I think I'll probably do like a 2 looks 1 palette with each of these palettes, but I don't have time to do that today. So I'll do swatches in both like my like filming light, and then I'll also go under like my bright fluorescent bathroom lights, and then I'll do natural light on my balcony. So I'll have different lighting for all of these swatches, but just for reference, the foundation that I'm wearing, in case you're wondering about my shade match, I'm wearing the L'Oreal True Match powder in the shade W6. That's my summer color, so that's what I have on now. But I'll also put all of my foundation, my matching foundation shades, in the description box, in case you're wondering if you were the same shade as me or what this would be relative to you. And I guess I'll start with the one that's on my eyes. I used 2 of the mattes from this palette. This is the Titanium Quartz palette, and it has like the layout of the colors on the back, and this is what the palette looks like in the box. So it has this like stretchy I don't know, like this rubberized part so that you can close it, because unlike most of the Sephora collection 7-pan palettes, this does not have a magnetic closure, so it just opens. So you do have to use this part on top of the palette, just so you know. Here's what the inside of the Titanium Quartz palette looks like, and I'll show you the swatches. So I didn't do the best as far as placement, but this is what they look like. And everything in this palette is either a matte or a metallic. So there's 3 metallics, the 3rd, the 5th, and the final shade. They're not like super blinding metallics. Sephora palettes usually aren't. You know, like indie shadows can be really intense. These are not, but and I haven't used any of these except for these 2 shades in my look today, so I can't say for sure, but considering these were very easy and smooth to blend out, just like all of the other Sephora palettes that I have, I'm assuming the metallics and shimmers will be the same, and as long as you use a glitter primer underneath, they can build up to be really impactful and beautiful. So this one does have a shift. I would say it's kind of like a bluish iridescent, but you can see some of the white base. Hopefully you've seen the swatches in different lighting on the screen already, but I'm gonna wipe these off and go to the next palette. Next, I'll do the Jade palette, which is the green one. This is what the inside of the Jade palette looks like, and I'll move on to swatches. Here are the swatches of the Jade palette. I tried to do them more condensed so that it wasn't running all down my arm, but this is what it looks like. And actually this palette seems to have a formula that I've never encountered from a Sephora collection, like one of these 7-pan palettes, and that is this shade right here. So this shade seems to be instead of like a creamier metallic, this one was a lot drier, and it seems to be it's not as opaque, so it seems to be like a drier topper formula. It's really pretty though, so I'm excited to try it once I do end up using this palette. But I just wanted to note that because I've never seen that type of topper formula in one of these Sephora collection 7-pan palettes. And again, I'll have the swatches in different lighting on the screen, and I'll move on to the 3rd palette. This one is Pyrite, which out of all 4 of these is probably the warmest, but it's not a super warm palette. The one thing that did surprise me with this collection is there weren't any very warm shades in any of these palettes, so potentially you'd like that. That did surprise me because usually Sephora collection does have something like that in their palette releases. But this is what this palette looks like. There is one matte with glitter in this palette, which I don't like the formula of just in general from any brand. And Sephora doesn't often put that in their palettes, but this one does have it, just so you know. Here's what those 7 shades look like swatched, and as you can see from this shade, this shade right here, this is the matte with glitter. My hand does have a bunch of glitter all over it just from swatching so much, but in this actual swatch of this matte with glitter, almost none of the glitter transferred into the swatch. But again, like I said, I haven't used these palettes on my eyes, so I don't know exactly how it would, like, the glitter would manifest on the eyes if it does, so just keep that in mind. But this is what all 7 of those shades look like. So again, this is the warmest palette out of all the 4 palettes, but it doesn't go to that like super orangey warm that I think we're all used to from like 5-10 years ago. And I'll have the swatches in different lighting on the screen. And now it's time to go on to the final palette. Finally, we have the Pearl palette, which as far as I saw on YouTube was like the most reviewed palette. So I don't know if this is just the one that was sent out to everyone, or maybe if just the people who decided to do reviews on this one, this is the one that everyone chose. But if you've seen a review of these palettes, you've probably seen this one already. But this is what these shades look like on my skin tone. This is what the inside of the palette looks like. Here's what the Pearl palette looks like swatched on my hand. As you can see, most of the shades are either the same shade as my skin tone, or they're much lighter. So if you have a medium skin tone or deeper, this is probably the one palette that you'd be able to not, well, I mean, you can use any shade, anyone can do anything with their makeup that they want to, but as for like an everyday palette, this would probably be the one where you wouldn't be able to use all of the shades in the palette, if any. So that is something I did want to know. I did not buy any of these palettes just to do this video or just for a review. I bought this palette because I wanted it just like the rest of the palettes. I knew that I would be able to use all 4 shades on the bottom row, and this shade especially, which is this shade right here, this like light brown bright bluish type color, that shade really intrigued me. So I still wanted to buy the Pearl palette, and I think I will get use out of this, but I do just want to mention that most of the shades in this palette are very light. You should be seeing the swatches in different lighting on the screen right now, but just a general overview. Again, I have not used any of these palettes on my eyes except for the titanium quartz. I used 2 of the mattes on my eyes today after I set my eyeshadow primer with a lid setting shade. So I have almost no experience with how these shadows actually apply to the eyes, but like I said, I will be doing or attempting to do a 2 palette 1 look video with all 4 of these palettes, so look out for that. I'm gonna try to get it up as soon as possible because all of these palettes are currently 50% off at Sephora for, like, you know how Sephora copies the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. A lot of Sephora collection products are 50% off at the moment, including all of these palettes. So please, if you're interested in them and you've been really wanting to get one, try to get it while they're 50% off, $8 at Sephora, before they sell out and before they go back to full price. Of course, don't buy them just to buy them, but in my previous experience, every Sephora 7 palette that I've ever bought, and I have one from every single collection that they've done since they came out with the 7 pan or like 7 shade layout. I have at least one palette from each line they've done since then. I have really loved every single palette that I've ever had from their 7 pan palettes, and just from the 2 mattes that I've used from this palette, it seems to be a very similar formula, very easy to use, so I'm very excited about these. If you were interested in them, again, just make sure you keep an eye on them for the price and the availability at Sephora. Usually Sephora tends to discontinue their collections after about a year of them being out, and I believe this is the 2024 palette lineup. So that's all I have for you in this video. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or any requests about these palettes or just anything in general. Look out for that 2 palettes or 1 palette 2 looks, sorry, video that I'm hoping to get out soon. But other than that, I hope you have a great day today. Bye.